Carlsbad, People, Purpose, and Impact, an essential podcast for those who live, work, visit, and play in Carlsbad.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Brett Schanzenbach. I'm the president and CEO of the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, and I am your host today. And I'm excited to have with me Kountinya Sai, who is the co-founder and CEO of Harmony. Good morning, Count. How are you?
Good morning, Brett. I'm doing great.
Good to have you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. So we should probably start with something that our audience can tell right away. You weren't born here in America, so tell everybody a little bit about your background, where you're from.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town, born and brought up in a small town in the southernmost part of India. What I like to refer to people here as the Miami part of India.
Okay, the Miami part. I like that.
Say humid.
Yeah.
And maybe 20 degrees hotter than Miami.
Yeah.
And and after about 15, 16 years is when I first moved to a big city. So I was not very fluent in English.
Gotcha.
Till I moved to the big city for my undergraduation. Then in a big city to hang out with cool kids, I had to speak in a dialect of English.
Ah.
That was cool in that city. It was called Chennai.
Interesting.
And I did my marketing in an MBA, and then I got into an advertising agency. And therefore, I had to get even better at my communication because I really like to be in the field of media and advertising.
Sure.
So that's where I am. That's where I get my accent from.
Yeah, very nice. And so then, what brought you over here? Like, at what point in your life did you come over to the U.S.?
Yeah. So I started in the advertising business in '98 after my MBA. But in '99 there was this .com boom that happened everywhere, and I happened to be right in the corridor where that .com boom was happening in India. So I was hired by a .com to build, at that point, was India's largest online bookstore.
Oh.
So we had over 1 million books. All the books you could buy on Amazon.com. You could buy it on our sifimall.com. Just that it will come to you 3 weeks later.
Ah.
Because we used to do the drop shipment. So we used to do a lot of innovations because people did not have credit card to buy online.
Interesting.
And we introduced cash on delivery as a payment option. Things that does not exist in other markets.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so fast forward, so I was there about 10 to 11 years doing that. And the financial crisis again in 2008 hit our business hard.
Yeah.
This we are talking about right at the cusp of when smartphones are going to happen. So, but it hasn't happened yet, at least not in India. So my career was not progressing, and I really wanted to be in the middle of the action. To kind of, my energy can feed off.
Sure.
So my wife had an opportunity to move to U.S. through her employer. And then I got an opportunity to work for an advertising agency in Madison Avenue in Manhattan. So we moved in 2010. So kind of I was back doing what I was doing back in 98.
Interesting.
So that's what got me to U.S. And also because we wanted our daughter to move here, that was the motivator behind.
Sure.
So back in 2010, she was just 3 years old.
Okay.
And we felt that she would have a better future, in the United States than we staying back in India.
Wow. Yeah.
And in that respect, I think we made the right decision.
Oh, great. So that got you to New York, but then what got you to the better coast? I mean, the West Coast.
Yeah, actually, we first moved to San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
We lived in Danville. Primarily, again, what motivated was absolutely weather, but also the school district. So we were a part of the San Ramon Valley Unified School District.
Sure.
So that's where we moved in 2015. And again, the COVID happened in 2020. And public schools no longer worked for my daughter, mainly because she was transiting from middle school to high school.
Yep.
So then it's when we applied for her at Pacific Ridge School here in Carlsbad. And she got accepted, again motivated for the school.
Yeah.
And a better life for our daughter is what moved us to this part of the coast.
Oh, that's great. So you came down south to Paradise here in Carlsbad. So I guess that's one of our little silver linings of COVID is that we got you guys to come down here.
That's true.
Yeah, no, that's great. You had this experience with the .com world, and that was interesting that you shared about the way that they didn't have credit cards the same that we do. And so you had this other system because that kind of seems to have come forward with your new exciting adventure with Harmony. I mean, it's basically a digital wallet, gamified digital wallet. Why don't you kind of tell everybody what Harmony is, and we'll kind of unpack it a little bit and walk through it.
So back in 2012, I joined a sports publisher and I started handling advertising sales for them globally. And they turned out from 10 million downloads to 200 million downloads in a matter of a couple of years.
That's amazing.
So happened to be the largest sports publisher on the mobile space.
Wow.
So even with NBA, NFL, MLB put together, it would not even be 100 million.
Wow. And you were over 200
million
Oh, that's amazing.
And for Indians living in the US, if the brands want to communicate with them, so we are not available in a captive platform because we consume mainstream media in English compared to other immigrant population. But cricket is a unifying platform, and only we had the audience. So I was selling to Wells Fargo, State Farm, Toyota, Lexus. So any top brands you could think of, I was selling to these brands.
Because you had this amazing audience.
Exactly. So we had 3 million Indians who represent 1% of US population, but they represent 5% of the GDP.
Wow.
So brands was not getting access to this audience, which we could give them. So that really turned out well. And we started taking that model to other countries. So we took it to Canada, South Africa, UK, Australia, Dubai. Wow. So that was a great experience from 2012 till 2019. It got me to travel globally and helped me to do something I really enjoy. I'm a huge cricket fan myself.
Yeah.
So, I was getting paid for doing something I really loved. So
how fun. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say that I've ever really figured out cricket. And honestly, I haven't really invested the time to figure it out. You just see it kind of like in movies or something, and you're like, I honestly don't get it. But I could tell just like our weird sports here in America that it would be something that would be very popular with those who grow up with it and know it and have their passion around it. So that's great. That was really the sweet spot for you guys.
Exactly. And any average American's perception of cricket is what they've seen it in movies like the British like cricket in the 30s.
Yeah.
So, but cricket as a game has transformed to target the younger audience. So that's where the advertisers need to spend their money. Obviously, the sport has transformed itself to deliver the audience to the brands. So that was, therefore, it's interesting growth because as the game, it's getting transformed and the game is getting onto platforms which were not there earlier. For example, mobile. Mm-hmm. Because Indians, when they, let's say they're commuting to work in New York or they're commuting to work in San Francisco is when a big cricket match is going on in India.
Oh, right.
So they cannot watch the game in front of their, television sets at home. So their platform of choice became mobile.
Yeah, makes sense.
And we could deliver that audience to the brands. So it was a perfect storm. So,
And so they're watching the games through your app.
We're following the games through our app.
That's
so
amazing.
We do a ball-by-ball, commentary and live scores of all cricket games. And we're faster than what you could see on your television because there's a broadcast delay.
You were faster than we could see on TV. That's interesting. I wouldn't have seen that coming.
Yeah. And then you go and sell your media of mobile back in 2012.
Yeah.
But the brands were still not advertising to say, hey, you're advertising on the wrong platform to get this audience, which is television.
Yeah.
Stop advertising on this platform and advertise on my platform. So,
amazing. So you had all that background of taking a mobile app from relatively small to explosive growth. And that's when you were in the Bay Area, right?
Yes.
And then from that led you up to Harmony?
Yeah. So, what I then had done was completely exhausted myself of working multiple time zones. Like to work in Dubai, they start their work week on Sunday. So my work week used to start on Saturday evening.
To sync up with them.
And then I work in Australia, our Sunday is their Monday already.
Oh, man.
So, and cricket is like a 365 days affair.
It never has an off season.
It never had an off season because brands started wanted to advertise, so they wanted to play more and more cricket games.
Man.
So they created this franchise model like we have for NBA here, city-wise teams, and each country started creating these city-wise teams. Imagine there are 20 cricket-playing countries.
Sure.
And each of them have 10 teams. There are 200 cricket teams.
Okay.
So there's almost a cricket match every other day. Or every single day, maybe there are 2 cricket games.
So there's no downtime for you.
Exactly. And you're on your top of your game, and you get revenue, you make advertising commission out of it, right? So you bring in a $1 million deal, so it's $200,000 is right onto your pocket. So you're always
There's a
trying
lot
to
of
put
incentive,
on,
yeah.
So you are never, you eventually become a workaholic. You become dependent on, unless you do that, you feel bored.
Yeah.
So I had gotten into that cycle without knowing. So I started seeing a psychologist back in 2017.
Yeah.
Because it was becoming more and more difficult for me to put on my game face.
Yeah.
By then, the brain and the body had fatigued.
Yeah.
Because I had not taken any self-care.
You're just burning out. I mean, there's the financial rewards of doing it successfully, but eventually you're burning.
You crash and burn.
Yeah.
So that's what my psychologist told me the first day she met me, saying that you're a train wreck waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So a few sessions later, I was diagnosed to be an highly sensitive person, HSP, and bipolar disorder too.
Wow.
So what I was doing was driving myself into that hypomania whenever I had a call, so that I could be on my A game.
Yep.
And then after the call, I need to go back doing this mundane chores. I'm at home, stay-at-home dad, I have a dog, I had to answer the front door. That tuning in and tuning out, I could do it more easily when I was younger, because the brain had better elasticity. As you grow older, and when you're not especially doing self-care, it eventually loses its resilience.
Yeah.
Back.
When we're younger, we can put ourselves through so much more. But seems like you were still fairly young when you're starting to get this all figured out. And so
I was 41.
Yeah. So you're going through. You're kind of figuring out that this really isn't working for me as a human being anymore. Okay. And so that led to, we're going to pause right there and allow for a message, because when we come back, we're going to jump into where you went with it, because it's very exciting, and I'm happy to hear for our listeners to learn about it. So we'll be right back. So Count, when we were talking, you were sharing about how you had hit burnout, and you realized that the pattern you were in wasn't healthy and good for you. So, and that was all working with the Sports Gaming Act for the cricket industry. But all that phenomenal experience you had gained led you to a lot of great experience, a lot of great background. And tell us how you created Harmony.
So by then I realized I had become workaholic, and I had abused my superpower, right, for the short-term gain.
Yeah.
Like I crashed and burned. So I was referred to a psychiatrist. And after about 2-3 iterations, which took 2 years for me to settle down with the right medication, I felt finally settled down by 2019.
Yeah.
So that was the year of the Cricket World Cup, which meant that I had to relocate to London, because that's where it was happening. So that was during summer. So it's played during June, July. That's when it's summer in London. I decided not to do it. My daughter was 12. She's going to turn 12 in July. I've missed so much of her growing up in the last 7-8 years since we moved to the US. So I decided that, hey, I've had enough.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go back into the treadmill.
Yeah. Time to
unwind and,
connect with family.
Yeah. And figure it out. After she goes back to school in fall, figure it out what I wanted to do. So during that period, I read few books, one is Nudge by a Dr. Richard Taylor. So he's a behavioral, Nobel Prize winning behavioral psychologist.
Did you say Nudge?
Nudge.
Yeah. Okay.
And Hooked by Nir Eyal.
Okay.
Where he talks about how giving somebody variable rewards for an activity keeps those dopamine transmitters going, because you're always expecting a reward.
The reward system, yeah.
Yeah. And a book called Actionable Gamification Framework by Yu-Kai Chow. He is known as the father of gamification.
Oh, interesting.
So where he talks about how you need to have a purpose in life to do what you need to do. So when I put all these three things together, I thought that maybe if I can build an app for myself, like, because I need to be nudged
Yeah.
to do the next best action.
Yeah, sure.
So because during my sessions, I did an Enneagram test, and I found out that when I make an external commitment, I meet it. Right? I'm of that personality type.
Yep.
So I made an external commitment to my daughter to say I will get into better shape, right? And her school district has this yearly fundraiser called Run for Education.
Run for Education. Okay.
So it's been going on almost for 39 years.
Wow.
And the entire community turns up. It's during usually the second Sunday of October
Okay.
after kids come back and settle down in school. And they raise close to $250,000.
Nice.
Right?
That's
And,
a good fundraiser.
Yeah, and there are school level events that are happening. So that then there is an overarching fundraiser, also at a school level fundraiser. And the whole community is active,
That's great.
starting third week of September all the way into the second week of October. But I could never do it, because I was always traveling, or I was sick, or I was, recovering from a jet lag,
Yep.
or I was fat, right? It could be, one or many of those reasons together.
Yeah.
And this year I told her that I will turn up for your Run for Education event.
Yeah.
And then I will, for every mile I run, I will donate $1. Right? With a goal to donate $250
Wow.
on the second week of October, which turned out to be 13th of October back in 2019.
Okay.
So this was on July 15th on our birthday, right?
So it's going to be every mile you ran between July and the October, you would donate $1. Okay.
Yeah. And then with a goal to do $250,
Yeah.
right, to work out the math.
Yeah.
Right? There are 100 days. I need to do at least 2.5 miles a day,
Yeah.
right? So then I got into, a marathon training program with a group called Asha for Education. So they say they turn miles into smiles.
Oh, that's a fun tagline.
So it's a fundraiser for underprivileged children in India.
Okay.
So it became another purpose. So I joined that crew. So who helped me to train? So I went from couch, from running the half marathon, the week before the Run for Education event, which was a 5K,
Wow. Yeah.
right? Just to say that, hey, if you are nudged to do the next best action with a purpose in mind and with a reward, my reward was an external reward.
Yes.
Right, so that's oxytocin. I feel good whenever money is donated on my behalf.
Yeah.
One is endorphin because I've run 8-miler to train for the 13-miler. At the end of it, I open my app and see, hey, I donated $8
Yeah.
to the school's education, Run for Education fund. I felt good.
Yes.
Something I could take a screenshot and send it to my daughter.
Yeah.
And my daughter would say, hey, good job, Dad. So those are the motivators.
Yeah.
We were putting 2 and 2 together, and we kind of held so what happened was that 3 of my friends also supported me. They said they will also match $1. So eventually we raised $1,000,
Nice.
which we used to get a booth at the Health and Wellness Expo on the day before the run.
For your daughter's event.
Yeah,
at the
in
expo.
2019.
Okay. Yeah.
To say that, hey, this one man could do it.
Yeah.
It's
great.
just a question of practicing the next best thing to do. And there is a motivation. If you did it, some good is going to happen, right? So their parents asked us a lot of good questions on how this can be given to teens and how much this app would cost. So they asked certain questions where we ourselves had not thought of. So when we went back and started building this product as a gamified rewards wallet for teens to practice good habits, to improve their physical, mental, and financial wellness,
Yeah.
COVID happened.
Yeah.
So it became the perfect product because my daughter started doing Zoom schooling.
Yes.
And the digital addiction, you would think she would be Zoom schooling. But there are other attractions. Like there's TikTok, there's Discord. Right? When we are tempted every third second to look at a Facebook stream, why wouldn't a 14-year-old not do it?
Yeah, that's so true. So many distractions on the monitor for our kids and for everybody, but for the kids especially.
Yeah. And I put 2 and 2 together. Like I was in advertising sales, and 70% of my revenue were actually coming from banks. They were the biggest spenders.
And this is back when you were in the cricket.
Yeah. And also I've been in this media publishing industry. So you see the trend. Your biggest advertisers are Wells Fargo, State Farm Insurance.
Sure.
Right. MoneyGram, Western Union money transfer.
Yep.
Indians who live here, they remit money back home. So they are big advertisers. And increasingly, their audience base is saturated. So they need to go after unbanked or underbanked segment.
Sure.
So a teen is an unbanked segment.
Yes, it is.
Right, and the traditional banks don't have access to them. So that was the business insight. And with this personal experience, we put 2 and 2 together. And then I got back in touch with my school friend who went on to become a computer scientist. And he builds persona graphs, which is using data, anonymizing it, and then using deep learning algorithm to be able to personalized communication with the end user.
Interesting.
So, and he worked for IBM, and he got motivated. He quit his job, and we both joined as co-founders, where he started building the personalized nudge engine, because my daughter might need a nudge at a certain time of the day to go for a walk, vis-a-vis my partner Sam's daughter would need a nudge to finish reading the book.
Gotcha.
Right. So
he's developing the algorithms to help figure out what nudge somebody would need to do the next best thing.
Exactly.
Oh, it's fascinating.
And if that is coupled with rewards, that parents can say, if they did that, I'll give $1. Handel's Ice Cream can say, I'll give a cone card.
Yep.
Right. And if I can understand behavior and couple the right action with the right reward, and each time the reward is variable, there's a surprise, right? It could be money donated on your behalf. It could be $5 into your wallet, right? It could be $10 towards your future purchase of Adidas shoes.
Wow.
So you keep complaining that, hey, you are always on PS4 and you want new Adidas shoes. I can put in $10 towards your future Adidas shoes on days when you do 5,000 steps.
So it's all about rewarding good habits. Is that fair to say?
Exactly.
I mean, I was looking at your website, and I loved how it really focused on so many different aspects that we as parents, want to see our kids grow in. So physical well-being, chores with benefits, I saw, financial, literacy and financial awareness. And then it talked about gamified happiness. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So you kind of use the gamified happiness to blend all these good habits together. And you had this one thing on your website that just jumped out at me, and it said, dopamine is your secret sauce. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the one tagline I like to say about Harmony, also where the name came from, is that we said we'll hack into happy hormones.
Hack into happy hormones. I like it.
Right. So if I can have a human AI, so I come from the human behavioral system of world of advertising. So my partner comes from the hardcore data science of doing personalization and changing behavior. So we said if we can put these two things together, right? Fascinating things I read, right? So before, let's say, I decide to pick up this mug of coffee for another sip, there are dopamine receptors which is preparing me for this action, knowing which I as a conscious self don't know. But only when that gets triggered, I realize I'm going to do this only when my hand moves.
Yeah.
But to move the hand, the dopamine had been put into action.
Yep.
So it's a very important hormone. And you want it in the right doses at the right time.
Yep.
Right. So then we said if we could combine, getting them into some kind of a physical movement to increase their heart rate. Right. So Finland, their school systems are known to be the best because they never cut off recess even till 12th grade. So in fact, they
have recess into 12th grade. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
In fact, for between every periods, they have a 10-minute break to get the kids to go out, run, right? So what it does is that endorphins are created, which makes you more primed for learning when you come back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And for example, let's say there's a kid who has an attention problem during math classes because it's difficult. What's known is that if you can practice mindfulness for 1 minute, your brain is flooded with alpha waves, which helps you to concentrate better.
Right.
So if I can release those dopamine receptors to help the kid prime for learning, for exercise, and then, couple that with the rewards,
Yeah.
right? What happens is that there is an intrinsic motivation to do something. Because at the back of your head, you're going to get a reward. So that helps the dopamine to get into action more promptly compared to what happened to me. Due to my lifestyle, I had completely depleted my dopamine receptors and my serotonin receptors. And that's exactly what the medication does. It helps to get those hormones back into balance.
Yeah.
So why lead us to that stage, right? Why can't we, especially for the teens who are the future of this world, why don't we go and give them a tool which they would love to use so that they feel there's a purpose to life? Because when they practice these good habits, not only they get rewards for themselves, their vibrations get manifested for rewards for the bottom 10%. So that's the purpose to life, because why should I do what am I doing today? Or that's a question, adolescent most often ask, why should I do this? So if you did this, some good will happen.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps. That's why we call the dopamine as a secret sauce.
I love that. So you're talking about like they could get some reward, but they also could see maybe there's a positive impact elsewhere that is a result of their good actions. So all kinds of reward systems kicking into place there. That's awesome. So you have the Harmony app, and I would love for you to share, just recently here, you guys used it locally with one of the companies that's very active, the Agua Hedionda Lagoon Foundation and their Discovery Center. So tell everybody about the virtual 5K that happened recently, and then we'll talk about what's coming up that you guys are doing with them.
Yeah, so we partnered with Agua Hedionda Lagoon Foundation. And the one interesting thing that Harmony app has is a fundraiser, right? So again, that was derived from the Run for Education experience.
Back when you were up in Northern California, yeah.
And the insight was that why should Run for Education should be a one-day event? It can be an year-round event. And every day, and I do 10,000 steps. As a parent, I can tell my daughter that I'll donate $1 onto your school's education fund.
Yeah.
So then when we moved here to Carlsbad, Pacific Ridge has a fundraiser which is themed around superheroes.
Okay.
That superheroes don't have to wear capes.
Okay.
Right. So then we said, hey, it'll be cool if we could create superhero teams for the students to join and compete versus each other on and whichever team has the highest number of steps on behalf of the team, then we can donate money to the school's education fund.
Oh, that's great. So Pacific Ridge School, you're doing superhero teams and getting them to kind of like compete against each other. And of course, they're competing in creating good habits. So it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah. And as we were taking time to get that finally built, in the meantime, we saw the opportunity that we can help Agua Hedionda to run a fundraiser on Harmony. So we extended the same idea that they have these animal ambassadors. Blue is a American kestrel. They have a peregrine falcon named Celerity. So they have a hamster named Snow White. So why don't we create teams named after these animal ambassadors?
Oh, how fun.
And have a virtual walkathon. So that's what we did on 30th of April.
Nice.
And we had a good amount of participation from the members of Agua Hedionda Lagoon Foundation. Now, we are now holding a real event. Last time it was a virtual walkathon. On 4th of June, we are again holding this event on Saturday, where we're going to start our walk at the Discovery Center, finish the walk again back at the Discovery Center, taking a loop, and There we're going to have a launch event for Harmony
Nice.
for the participants who can RSVP by 3rd of June.
Very nice. So moving it from a virtual 5K to an in-person event, an actual real walkathon of sorts. And still, though, with the teams from the animals?
Yeah, so still you can join. I'm Team Blue.
Okay.
So based on the team that has the maximum number of downloads, we again donate money, which we did last time. This time we are making it slightly more interesting.
Okay.
So whenever you could have somebody join your team, so on the team's behalf, we donate another $5.
Nice.
And when the individual downloads and then joins a team, we donate another $5. That's $10 a donation straight to the foundation.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And on 4th June, for every 1,000 steps you take, we donate another additional $1.
Nice.
Up to 5,000 steps.
Nice.
So this is again to demonstrate to the community how the app works, and then work with the school boards to tell them, hey, here is a free fundraiser app that you can deploy for your school, whether it be Carlsbad High School or Sage Creek School. And they can get creative. So we are working with the Wellness Club of Carlsbad High School, where we met them actually during the Mental Wellness Week, Kenneth Pilko.
Okay.
And we are trying to see how we can customize this fundraiser for Carlsbad High School.
Wonderful.
And launch it when they come back to school after the summer vacation.
Oh, that's fantastic. So looking at different places where you can bring Harmony, the digital wallet platform, and could be for a fundraiser, but ultimately it's for all these great, good habits that we want our kids to have. And so, like, can parents already, if their kid has a smartphone, they can already download it and start using it right today?
Yes.
Okay.
You can download the app either from the Droid Marketplace or the Apple Play Store. I could be saying it the other way around.
Yeah.
But they're available for both the Droid and the iPhones.
Great.
You can download the app and join the waitlist by joining one of the Animal Ambassador teams.
Got it.
So then we'll immediately put you on the June 4th event.
Nice.
Either you could do it virtually from wherever you are, but we would love for you guys to come down to the Discovery Center.
Sure.
Because we're going to have ice cream, pizza, and beer for 21 plus.
Sure. No, so you're going to have a true launch event. And we should probably explain to people that Harmony, it's Harmony.
That's right.
Harmoney. So if they're looking it up on the Google Play Store or the Apple, whatever that's called. Sorry, I'm a droid. I don't know the Apple one. But if you're looking it up in either of those app stores, you find the right one. And it's Harmoney, Harmony. And it's free to download. And parents, you can start working with your kids to develop those good habits. And so parents can put a little bit of money in to incentivize anything from kids making their bed or doing homework or, certain level of physical activity. Like you've already said, there's all these different ways parents can incentivize their own children, correct?
That's true, yeah. So on an average, a teen gets $150 a month of allowance. That's $5 a day. So just to give a sample, use case scenario, I could say that $5 you would get if you don't snooze today. So you snooze, you lose.
Yeah.
Right? So, but tomorrow it might be behind the 5,000 steps you need to complete by 5 p.m. So that's where the variable reward part of it kicks in.
So you're switching it up so that they don't know what's the trigger, but they need to do a lot of good habits to continue to earn it.
And we have a sentiment analysis graph we can create by which hears your voice, and then based on that, it can create the sentiment graph, mood graph. So end of the day, you could prompt your child to answer what do you feel grateful for the day. So they could talk into the app to say, hey, I like that we went to Handel's ice cream today. I went to the beach for a walk with the dogs. And then for practicing gratitude, you could be donating money to the school's education fund or to UNICEF, which is supporting kids in Ukraine. Or getting $10 into your future purchase. So the idea is that to put the control into the parents' hands to say, what is the behavior you want to change for today?
Yeah. What do you want to incentivize?
And like a treasure hunt, hide these incentives.
Interesting.
Behind one of those 3, 4, 5 activities we want them to do for the day.
I like the treasure hunt. Yeah.
And it could be wellness based. It could be both physical and mental wellness based.
Mm-hmm.
It could be based on chores. Complete homework by 7 p.m. I'll give you extra 30 minutes of Roblox or Fortnite play.
Yeah.
Right? Or let's say you have a sugar Saturday.
Yeah.
Right? Then you need to have a streak of Monday to Friday of doing 5,000 steps.
Yeah.
Then we will go to Handel's Ice Cream or Cold Stone Creamery.
Yeah.
So there is an opportunity now for Handles to say, hey, on the 4th day, if you're almost doing the streak, hey, do the streak on the 5th day as well, so that we will give you 2 cone cards free.
Yeah.
So there is an additional incentive.
Yeah, that's great.
To be able to complete the task. And to make it easy, you can download the app from visiting tap.link. It's tap.link/harmony.
Is it DAP, D-A-P?
T as in Tom.
Tap link. Tap.link.harmony?
/harmony.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tap.link/harmony.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you could choose whether you have a Droid phone or an iPhone.
Yep.
And it will direct you to the correct download page for you to get the app.
Okay, great. Tap.link/harmony. And you can download it from that page. Make it easy if you'd like to. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come in and share about this just very innovative, interesting program that you've created. I know as a parent of many children, finding innovative ways to incentivize our kids to create good habits is super valuable. So I appreciate that focus that you've brought and all your great experience from past, work that you've now pivoted into this is just fantastic and very helpful for us parents who want to incentivize our kids. So, and if people wanted to get in touch with you to chat more, should they do the same thing? Go to the Harmony page, or is there a website? Or
yes, so they visit tap.link/harmony. They also have options to visit the website, and it also has links to our YouTube channel and our LinkedIn. My coordinates are also there, but I can give it here. It's Count. It's KOUNT @harmony.ai. And
Very
my mobile
nice.
number is 415-497-7490.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you again for taking the time to come and share with us.
Thank you so much, Brett. And I want to especially thank Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce. And I'm so excited that we moved to Carlsbad area and to have found the chamber here. And all the relationships that we have with Agua Hedunda Lagoon or with the other key stakeholders within the community, it's all has been happening through the networking events the chamber holds, and we highly appreciate it.
Oh, we love having you here. We love having this level of innovation in our community. So this is great. And we look forward to a bright future.
Thank you so much, Brett.
Thanks for joining us on our Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please hit the follow button on wherever you get your audio. And please tell a friend. We would love to hear your feedback, which you can share at carlsbadpodcast.com. You can leave us a review, ask a question, or leave an audio comment, which we can play on the show in the future. And that's all we have for today. Can't wait to see you next time on Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact. And remember, share some kindness today. It's free, creates goodwill, and makes you feel great.